So I thought it'd be useful if we had a little look around some of the kit that the guys are using, because this style of fishing has got its own brand, its own style. It's really interesting. Matt, just show us one or two of the things, the type of stuff that the anglers we're seeing this weekend are playing with out here on this fantastic location.
Yes, of course. Here we have a fantastic rod with a length that is very practical here in this particular venue, because we have very light equipment. This is much important to have a light equipment, because all the guys here are very mobile and they have to move very fast actually. So we are here just a single bag where we are very quick to change this lure. You know, we have lures here, we have everything here. So you can have access very quick here too. So this is very important. And we have here a net. So we have the minimal equipment, we have the net, we have the rod, and we have the bag with all the accessories. So very practical here for this particular venue with the World Street Fishing Show.
Well, Tom, we've made our way a little bit further up, and in front of us we have Vincent Peyraud, who on the roster is ticket number 1, and there's a very good reason for that, isn't there?
Yep. So Vincent actually won last year in Hellevoetsluis. He won the street fishing tournament, and now he's the defending champion. He's just told us that he's been catching a few gobies and things like that. The gobies can be a big nuisance because they just attack lures, and they're very small fish. As you can see next to him, there's some carp right in front of his rod there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's an amazing environment.
Incredible. The frustration of watching those carp swim past under his rod tip.
They're very pretty looking fish as well. The condition of all the fish you see here are really good.
It's one of those places that feels like it's alive, doesn't it? I mean, there's, you know, there's loads of insects hatching, there's lots of stuff going on all over the place.
It really is the perfect environment for a street fishing competition. The location couldn't be better. We've seen so many locations for the World Predator Classic and the World Street Fishing, and they're all great spots. Hellevoetsluis is an amazing location as well. But Metz for the street fishermen, there's so much water to go at, so many species readily available to be caught. And as you can see around you, the life here is just amazing. It's the perfect environment.
And the joy of this sort of fishing, of course, is you travel light. So Vincent's obviously been fed up with being menaced by gobies and packs his bag.
He's moving on.
And off he goes.
Yep, it's a very light way of fishing. You can just grab a bag, a few little lures, put them in a box. You don't need that many things to go fishing. The rods, now they're making them even lighter and lighter with the newer carbon on the market. And it's a really mobile way to go fishing. You don't need a car even. You could just get on the train, get on the bus, go to the town centre. While everyone else around you is on their way to work, rushing to the 9 to 5, you're catching perch.
Sounds good to me. So Vincent, how's it going so far?
Yeah, it's very difficult to fish here. We catch some gobies, and for the moment it's all little perch, and it's all for the moment.
With the weather like this, so hot and sunny, is that part of the problem, you think?
See, I think, and there is not a lot of water. The level is very down.
Low level, yeah.
But yeah, the changement of weather is not good for fishing.
We're watching the guys from Poland, from Team Dragon, with Adrian Pron among them, who's a very successful lure angler on the street fishing scene. Adrian and his team have had, we think, a pike and a perch between the three of them. It's interesting, this area, we talk about this event being about street fishing. This doesn't look like street fishing to me, but it's just classic. This is the sort of territory on the outskirts of some of the cities, you know, all over Europe. There are places like this, aren't there? Sort of hidden gems, little breathing parts of countryside in urban areas where you can find locations like this.
Yeah, that's the beauty of street fishing. You can be in the middle of a town centre one moment with big buildings all around you and people rushing past left, right and centre, and then 5 minutes out of the way and you're in the countryside. Another 5 minutes you're back right where you started. It's amazing how you can go from being in the most busy locations to somewhere where you don't see people for hours.
If we look over to Adrian's right-hand side, one of his teammates is actually fishing a topwater lure, pulling it back, making a disturbance on the surface. It's the kind of tactic that you fancy might pull a predator up. You know, it's the sort of thing, a bit of disturbance on the top, mimicking an injured bait fish, that sort of left to right pattern that it's going across the surface. If there's a pike or even a zander or a chub in the location, that's the sort of lures they might hit, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, every fish will hit a topwater on the occasion. They create a lot of disturbance. You can see using the popper, it's making so much, I like to call it a mess. It's spitting water, hit left, right and centre. It's making a massive wake, and it's just trying to wake up the predators in the area. So it's a very aggressive way of fishing, and you're looking for the reaction strike. So that's trying to trigger a bite out of a fish that may not necessarily be hunting, but you're just trying to get a bite from a fish on the opportunity.
Pure adrenaline fishing as well.
Yeah.
Today is very tough. We see a lot of fishes, pikes, perch, and
not small one, 35,
small ones.
34.
Actually, at this moment we get one pike, it's 55, and one perch, 24. We have few pikes lost, few perches lost, so we're still trying to get the results better.
Yeah, now we start fishing on the river, so we hope it's better because the sun go down, and before it's really warm, and 28 degrees is too much for fishing. It's good to walking and with friends, but not for fish. We can walk, but now we must go fishing and catch big asp.
So talk us through your tactics now, Adrian, because you know this match could be right down to the last hour and a half. The whole place could just switch on, couldn't it?
Yeah, before we heard it's 60 fish and lots of perch and no asp. So now we try catch the asp.
We have special equipment like for war. So any different colors, any different sizes.
And handmade special one.
Exactly.
Yeah. Top secret.
Yeah,
top secret,
exactly.
Our chocolate. So now we go to the main river and try with there because we see the fish is active. So we some strikes, some on the other side of the river. So we are gonna be a target on this point.
So there is Adrian Pron, who's now made his way to a really shallow area just below this enormous bridge here in Metz, and this is the time really make or break for these anglers. Unfortunately for him, they've obviously saved this little spot to try later on in the day, and we're into the last, well, it's 7:30 now, so we've got 2.5 hours left in the competition. They'd obviously saved this area to have a go for the asp a bit later on in the day when the temperature started to drop, and as you can see to Adrian's left, there are several other anglers who've obviously had the same idea, and that's the problem in a big competition like this. These guys know this water. They've had the opportunity to practice. Their watercraft is superb, and they know where the fish are going to be hiding when the conditions are difficult. I happen to know where Adrian was talking about his top secret lure, just off camera when no one was looking, he did actually show me the lure. And I have to tell you, it's very interesting, and I can see why it works for these asp, because they're notorious for smashing topwater lures. They come up and take stuff off the surface, and the lure that he's got, which is working a fantastic looking action through the surface layers of the water, is a very natural bait pattern type lure. Silver with some kind of glitter in the flank. And as he retrieves, it makes a very enticing little sort of V shape coming through the water, which you can probably just about see. And as he stops retrieving, the lure then sinks a couple of inches, 5 or 6 inches down into the upper column of the water. And then when he starts to retrieve, it comes up again. And that's what lures these asp into taking. They are hugely predatory fish, but it does need for them to go on the feed. The heavy lure, as you can see, is casting it quite a long way, so covering a fair bit of water from one place. And what he'll be hoping is that lure will give him an edge over the other anglers that are fishing in this vicinity. We will see. And there's a story that tells you absolutely everything you need to know about today. 2 anglers with half an hour left, sitting down, gathering their thoughts, probably given up hope of catching a fish today. Look, we've all been there, guys. We've all been on the bank when fishing has kicked you in the teeth a little bit and you've had a long day and you know it's not going to happen. And all you can do is reload and come back stronger.
It's a very hard day, and I catch a lot of fish, but this fish was too small.
Today was really difficult because the weather was really hot, but I think this happened.
It was quite a tough day, I'd say. So we went around quite a bit, and no one really caught much. We had one perch in the group of 4, and one catfish, which was exciting, but doesn't go into the score.
But that is fishing, isn't it? When weather's like this, what can you do?
Can't do much, really. I mean, I think we knew this morning from the weather forecast that it was not going to be an easy day, and it wasn't. So, no surprise, but some disappointment.
Even though there was frustration for some of the anglers, there were still plenty of fish caught on day 1 of the World Street Fishing event in Metz. All 5 species that count made it onto the leaderboard. Julian Bredard landed this 68 centimetre asp. There were a few pike willing to chase a lure in the hot conditions too, including this 89 centimetre fish caught by Stefan Strunz. A couple of big chub fell to soft plastics too. This was the best of them, a 46 centimetre fish landed by Niels Jackson. The zander fishing was slow though, with Jamie Parkin's fish the best of them, measuring 59 centimetres. But perch ruled the day. There was the odd big stripey, like this 45 centimetre specimen for Romain Poulin. Most of the fish willing to feed in the hot weather conditions were small though. French angler Alexandre Denetier was the leader after the first day. His catch of 5 small perch gave him 146 centimetres. Julien Buisson was second. Germany's Stefan Strunz was third, helped by that big pike and a zander. You know, there's nothing more frustrating as an angler knowing you're fishing a venue that's absolutely stuffed full of fish, but then not being able to catch anything. And we've all been there, haven't we? Everybody's had days like that. What Metz has done today, these fantastic rivers and canals around this extraordinary venue, has told us one important thing to remember, and that is that nature is always in charge. The weather has had the final say. But that's the end of day 1 of World Street Fishing. We've got it all to do again tomorrow.